Welcome to Star Citizen, the Alpha 3.11.1 and the ROC ship guide. Today we are testing all current ships which are available for rock mining. Almost all price ranges are represented, from beginner ships, of course the middle class, up to the upper class of vehicle transport for the ROC. But before we start our test, a short update of the ROC, its current bugs, the fixed bugs of version 3.12, which is coming soon, and what you should consider until then. As I already showed in the last rock mining update video, the bug of the moving rock has been fixed. But as we can see, this is not always the case. Here it depends on little things. As soon as we stand on something that is not 100% ground, but a stone or other object, the rock will still move. So pay attention to your stand and you will have peace of mind. And with 3.12, this problem is finally history. I hope really. But let's go to our ship test. For the test procedure, we will look at the ability of all ships to load one or more rocks, to unload them without any problems or damage, and the stability during the flight. On the other hand, in the second test area, we test the ship's ability to detect minables for the rock. The ship's scanner abilities, since these give quite different results. In total we have tested 9 different ships, starting with the brand new Consolidated Outland Nomad, which often has its problems with the rock, with its pickup elevator, especially with the current game version. Over old acquaintances like the Cutlass series and MISC Freelancer variants, to also brand new the Crusader Mercury Starrunner, up to the absolute luxury ship for the ROC, the Anvil Valkyrie. But we have also brought rarely used ships in the area of rock mining, such as a RSI Constellation series, a Caterpillar or a MISC Starfarer out of the hangar. And one thing in advance, almost every ship has its specific advantages and disadvantages. However, we can make clear recommendations with a clear consistency at the end of the test and will make a recommendation in every price range. The Consolidated Outland Nomad, which was introduced with this year's Intergalactic Aerospace Expo 2950, was directly implemented in the game. Everything about the Nomad, as well as its capabilities for rock mining in detail, but also the combat capabilities and flight behavior, can be found in the dedicated ship guide to the Nomad. The link can be found in the description as always. As the cheapest ship suitable for rock mining, the Nomad offers everything you need for extended trips. However, the Nomad is one of the few small to medium-sized ships that use an elevator mechanism to get the rock on and off the Nomad's pickup cargo hold. And this is where we have more or less problems depending on the game version. Directly after the release of the Nomad, for example, there were very few small jerks when loading and unloading the rock. In the current game version, however, it is almost impossible to load the rock reliably without most likely ending our mining trip prematurely. After a small hotfix for the rock, it is very unstable in connection with the elevator mechanism of the Nomad and often slips off the loading area. Even if we manage to load or unload the rock, the danger is currently very high that something goes wrong with the next loading and we suffer a total loss. And of course we have taken into account the different variables of the rock, such as the problem with the mining laser which folds out upwards, so we have retracted it manually each time. Let the rock activated or deactivated, let the door open or close and park it forwards or backwards. We have also tested different distances. Therefore, the Nomad in the current game version is explicitly not recommended. But since we have already tested that the Nomad can be combined and used with the rock, I would recommend not to write it off yet. With the upcoming game version 3.12, there were already some more extensive patches for the rock and the elevator mechanism. So I can assume that the Nomad will be a very good team again in combination with the rock from 3.11 on, and therefore remains the recommendation for beginners in rock mining. The Nomad is not for nothing our clear recommendation for beginners in the verse, and not only for rock mining. As far as the scanner capabilities of the Nomad are concerned, the scanner hits correspond to the category and size. As a small ship with a correspondingly large scanner, we achieve a standard range of about 500 to 700 meters for rock minerals. Material for ship mining we scan in up to 4 to 7 kilometers. As with all other ships, factors such as scanner resolution, speed and height are variable and affects the results. However, since we have tested all ships with the same settings and conditions, the results are comparable. But again, these are our measurements and not laboratory values. This is currently not possible in the verse because of course the mineral deposits and corresponding distances are different until we have another ship for the test on site. However, with a little practice and experience, it can be estimated quite well. We come to the next ship. The Drake Cutlass Black is in our opinion a larger version of the Nomad. Or rather, the Nomad is a smaller version of the Cutlass Black. The Cuddy is therefore the reference in the rock mining sector, not only because it has enough space for the rock and has no problems with an elevator mechanism due to its loading ramp, but also because of the ship's size and category in medium, over a comparatively strong and precise scanner. Even with smaller bugs like the upward pointing mining laser, which was also fixed in 3.12, the Black offers enough space to carry out mining trips in a planned and safe way. The Black scanner is also a reference. It is able to detect minables for the rock in distances of 600 to 1400 meters, and materials for ship mining in distances up to 6 to 11 kilometers. And since the Cutlass Black is only about $20 away from the Nomad, the Cutlass Black is the clear recommendation in the upper entry level, while the Cutlass remains the recommendation in the mid-range. You won't go wrong with the Cutlass Black. Rock mining, combat missions, team play with up to 2 friends and enough cargo capacity for the first few trading rounds is planned. But let's go to a relative of the Cutlass Black, the mighty Cutlass Red. The Drake Cutlass Red is currently one of the most versatile and, in my opinion, one of the most recommendable ships in Star Citizen. With a price of $135, the Red offers a lot of possibilities across almost all game areas and it is comparatively cheap for this. For me, still a mini Carrack. However, the rock mining area we have to struggle with the fact that the Red is not designed to take vehicles and problems can quickly arise. As soon as we don't park here exactly as for example with the Freelancer, we quickly have a wedged rock in the hold. Here we have the small bonus that even a wedged rock can often be brought out of the Red, but it takes a lot of patience and intuition to use the rock with the Red without problems. As soon as we have parked the rock correctly, pay attention to the manning laser, stay on the silver bar with the rear wheels and we are parking, we can transport and use the rock without any problems. Problems arise here if the ramp has no direct contact with the ground and we drive against it. Here it is possible that the ramp, as with the Cutlass Black, stops halfway and cannot be moved. The big advantage is that we have a mobile spawn point on board, which won't stay here forever and will probably disappear with the medical gameplay at the end of 2021, but which can save us from total loss or many bugs for some time. You got stuck, you hurt yourself, you are thirsty, you are propped up, you cannot back into your ship. With the Red you can simply walk a few meters further inside the ship. Currently, absolutely priceless. But the biggest advantage of the Cutlass Red for rock mining is the scanner. You'd think the Red would use the same scanner as the Cutlass Black, but it doesn't. The Red is a dedicated spaceship ambulance with a special medical scanner that is installed in place of the manned turret. And here we have a scanner performance that is quite impressive. It's similar to the much more expensive, larger Anvil Valkyrie. With the Red we regularly scan rock minerals up to 12 kilometers away and material for ship mining up to 50 kilometers away. This is an absolute peak value, which of course has a direct effect on our profit, because the Red we can find mineral material much faster and much more effectively, and this do not lose any time. As a conclusion, I would recommend the Red as an insider tip for advantage rock pilots, because we have to pay attention in many things there. but we are more than rewarded for it. But let's take a look at the underdog. For a long time it was a death sentence to want to transport a vehicle with an RSI Constellation, because one felt that the self-destruction had been initiated at the same time. So we were all the more surprised when we were able to load and unload the ROC with the Connie. Analogous to the Nomad, our ROC jerked back and forth, but due to the generous space of the Connie it never got wedged and even explode. However, I would recommend you to take only one ROC with you, and there would be enough space for 2 pieces, but then we would be back to the planned self-destruction. The scanner of the Connie, and especially of the Aquila as an exploration variant version, is quite good because we reach a Cutlass Red. ROC minables in distances up to 12 km and material for ship mining up to 50 km are not rare here. So we have a real ROC mining insider tip, the Constellation Aquila, but also the other variants are recommended, but with a slightly weaker scanning result. So the RSI Constellation would be our insider tip in this list. And our next test candidate is also a classic. Like the Cutlass Black, the MISC Freelancer is located in the middle range and is also recommended for ROC mining with minor restrictions. However, the space for loading or parking in the Freelancer is limited, or better say just sufficient. When loading and unloading, perfect positioning is necessary to be able to drive into the loading space. It only becomes difficult here if the terrain is not sufficient level and we have to slightly slope or even an inclination to the Freelancer. Then problems up to the unsolvable canting of the ROC are a danger. Therefore, the ROC mining with the Freelancer is possible, but has to be done with caution. The Freelancer scanner is comparable to the Cutlass Blacks in terms of performance and range. No significant differences were found. So again, we have minables for the ROC in distances of about 600 to 1400 meters and materials for ship mining in up to 6 to 11 kilometers distance. Our conclusion to the Freelancer: limited recommendable and, like the Cutlass Red, rather for the more experienced ROC pilot indeed. However, in a direct comparison to the Cutlass Black, it's cheaper and has less problems with the ROC mining. So I would stick to the Cutty Black. But there is another Freelancer version. The MISC Freelancer MAX is an extended cargo version of the standard Freelancer and has a much wider cargo space. We cannot fit 2 ROCs next to each other, but we can park them staggered behind each other, so we don't have the limitations of the standard Freelancers where we could park just like that. But we have a lot of space and the height is sufficient. The scanner can be compared with the standard Freelancer or the Cutty Black again and deliver similar results. So also here we have minables for the ROC in distances of about 600 to 1.4 kilometers and materials for ship mining in up to 6 to 11 kilometers distance. And since we can easily park and unpark, the Freelancer MAX can be recommended for ROC mining without any restrictions. However, we get a similar amount of space and comfort already with a Cutty Black, which is about $50 cheaper, so I only recommend the MAX for ROC pilots who want to do some cargo trading too. The next test candidate is again a brand new ship, the Crusader Mercury Starrunner. This one is not only a darling of the public, but also has a lot of possibilities in the verse. The Starrunner is also very suitable for ROC mining because of its very generous cargo area, where you can really accommodate several ROCs. And since we have made a dedicated ship guide for the MSR with a detailed ROC mining test, I referred to it and link it in the description below. In summary, the MSR is like the Cutty Black in the range of really well suited ships for the ROC mining, and the scanner is a bit better than a Cutlass Black. Here we have almost the range of a Cutlass Red, but not quite. In total, we can recommend the Mercury Starrunner, especially for ROC mining. With the Anvil Valkyrie, we come to the current best ship for ROC mining to anticipate the result. The Valkyrie has room for several ROCs, but with 2 of them in simultaneous use it is also pleasantly roomy and bugs or problems occur very rarely. The Valkyrie also offers a very stable ramp that doesn't malfunction as quickly as the Cutlass series. Valkyrie is also very easy to fly in the atmosphere and has a large tank which makes longer tours possible. As for the scanner, we have found that the results are very similar and sometimes even slightly better than with the Cutty Red. And therefore find rock minerals at a distance of up to 14 kilometers and material for ship mining at a distance of up to 70 kilometers. Awesome! Thus the Valkyrie is the absolute recommendation for mining with the ROC. Whether alone or in a team, it offers enough space, the handling is already good and the scanner is one of the best. However, the Valkyrie is also almost 4 times as expensive as the Cutty Red, so my recommendation for well-to-do rock miners. And as a small bonus, the Valkyrie also forgives the one or other contact with the ground or other ships. And of course there was no contact here. But let's go one number bigger. Well, the Caterpillar is not really a typical rock mining ship and the handling is more than questionable, but we still looked at the Cat as an example of ship-to-ground mining. We already showed you in the ship's guide to the Nomad that we need a certain distance between our ship and the mineable material for the rock, otherwise we cannot work with our mining beam. This is a great pity as we would have had some possibilities for team play. But this technique is quite possible with isolated ships. For example, with the Carrack and its massive ramp, we have the possibility to mine with the ROC while still standing on the ramp. But of course, I also wished for a ROC army that would let their lasers shine from all hatches of the Caterpillar. But of course, I cannot recommend the Caterpillar for rock mining. And to push the rock mining to the limits, we have misused a ship with the maximum rock capacity. In the Starfarer from MISC you get about 9 ROCs and have a mining fleet in operation. It's not useful or worthwhile, but honestly it was a lot of fun and definitely a new experience. Also the ramp of the Starfarer is very stable, similar to the Carrack, and we can invite several ROCs here very pleasantly. But the Starfarer is incredibly slow and difficult to control in the atmosphere, so I wouldn't recommend the Starfarer for that. However, as an interesting fact, the Starfarer with its large scanner is not competitive with the Cutlass Red or Valkyrie, which means we didn't have more or better hits. And this with such a big ship. So size is not everything. The Carrack was the reliability left out of the test because it is simply too big to be used for effective and sensible rock mining. However, I can recommend it as a base ship for a larger scale group action. But I would be interested in your opinion, which ship you prefer to use for rock mining and for what reason? Write it down in the comments. The purchase price of the ROC is very low and we really only need a smaller entry ship like a Nomad to be able to enter rock mining directly. However, with the new refinery system, the mining will change again. But this will first of all concern the ship mining, because of the new refining stations and the possibilities to utilize the mined materials and above all to make it more lucrative again. I assume that we will get back to ship mining and the finer details of the refinery system first in 3.12. I will keep my ROC and I will not sell it so fast. And if you are interested in such bigger actions or want to be a part of such an action, just drop by our Discord. And the Starfarer does not have a mining laser, but it has a completely different and effective advantage. This one doesn't help us for mining, but it looks good. It looks really good. I hope you enjoyed the video and you leave me a like and a subscribe here. I hope we were able to present the most interesting ship for you with this test. The differences in handling and especially in the scanner range are very different and you have to decide for yourself if you have preferred more comfort or pure function and performance. And as a final result we can say that the Nomad will give you a top entry into rock mining as soon as the 3.12 goes live. The Cutlass Red is still the standard, and with the Cutlass Red you get a harder to control but extremely effective vessel. An insider tip is the Constellation, and the clear winner, if only for the wilty miners, is the Valkyrie. The Mercury Starrunner is good in every area, but not outstanding, and therefore a safe variant, even if comparatively expensive. The Freelancer series, with its respective advantages and disadvantages, remains as alternatives. And of course I would like to thank the best, all channel members and Patreons. Without you, all this wouldn't be possible in these forms. You guys rock! And of course there's also a new giveaway, a Consolidated Outland Nomad for rock mining too, with lifetime insurance presented by Star Hangar. Here you can safely buy any ship or item all year round. You can find the link in the description. I say goodbye until next time and say as always, see you in the verse!